power rankings. Week 1 starts mañana, tomorrow. So let's go ahead and let's rank, because these rankings will not change throughout the year. They are 100% correct, except for when they're not. And that's why we adjust them accordingly throughout the season. Let's go ahead and get this sucker started so I can go ahead and go over, essentially, my tiers. Because, of course, we got bottom of the league. That's the worst of the worst. Teams whose focus isn't exactly going to be on making the playoffs this year, but improving. And then above that, you have your long shots. Teams that are just unlikely. Very, very, very unlikely to make the playoffs. But they can maybe surprise a few teams here and there. Then I have the middle tier. Could be, but unlikely. Teams that'll probably be maybe eliminated in the last few weeks, trying to make that push to the playoffs. Or teams that maybe could surprise and sneak into it. Like, I guess you could consider, like, Houston was kind of that. Like, honestly, going into last season, like, yeah, they got some talent, but they're unlikely to make it. I mean, new head coach, rookie quarterback, and then playoffs. And then they killed Joe Flacco's hopes and dreams. Above that, your playoff contenders, the teams that will actually be vying for the playoffs. Above that, playoff caliber teams that I think are 100% going to make the playoffs. They have a roster built to make the playoffs. And then, of course, your legit Super Bowl contenders, which, I mean, let's just go ahead and put the Chiefs here. Let's just go ahead. Let's put the Chiefs at the top there. Who are we kidding ourselves? This team plays for the postseason. Oh, man, Patrick Mahomes, 3 Super Bowls deep. At least 3 winning Super Bowls. Did have that loss to Tom Brady and such, but before we continue with today's video, guys, football is back. The NFL returns this weekend, and Underdog Fantasy has you covered. Not only if you sign up using promo code BROSHMO will they match your first deposit up to $250, but they have a ton of specials for this weekend's festivities. For instance, they have a free pick in the form of Travis Kelce, over or under 0.5 yards. They even have a Thursday night kickoff special where you can get 30% profit boost if you hit. Hell yeah. And I mean, the folks at Underdog, they're after my own heart, as they got college football covered, as well as they got discount for the dogs. Let's go. So take advantage of these specials currently going on at Underdog Fantasy. And if it's your first time signing up, use promo code BROSHMO to take advantage of them matching your first deposit up to $250. But as always, bet responsibly, bet within your means. Let's start at the bottom with the New England Patriots. They drafted Drake May. He's the quarterback of the future, but you did trade away Matthew Judon. This is not to say the defense will be bad, but there are questions with like Christian Barmore having the blood clots. Hopefully he can come back eventually. Don't know if it'll be anytime this year. The offensive line is still a big question mark. You drafted wide receivers. Now it's time to see if someone will step up. Like we could admit that the focus on the Patriots this year is development and not necessarily winning ball games. Right behind the Patriots, I guess I should say in front of, I have the Carolina Panthers. I think we're going to see a lot of progress from the Panthers this year. I'm hoping to see a very good Bryce Young. I'm excited to see what he will look like under Canals, with Canals having a full off season to help develop him. But not only are there enough injuries, but there are enough weaknesses and injury concerns on the defense for me not to really take this team serious as a potential playoff contender or a team that may vie for the playoffs. Because I already got guys like DJ Wonham, Dane Jackson. They're down. JC Horn, he's just an injury waiting to happen. That's what it feels like at this point, at this juncture. So, yeah, Panthers are going to have their lumps and bumps this year, but it's going to look better than it did last year. Right in front of the Carolina Panthers, I got the Minnesota Vikings. Sam Darnold may surprise some people, but I think I'm done pretending like I'm going to be surprised by, did I say Aaron Donald? Sam Darnold. There we go. I'm going to pretend like, I'm not going to pretend. I'm done. I'm done. Sam Darnold isn't going to surprise me anymore. He might be an adequate backup at best. I truly believe that. Now, they have the weapons on offense. They have a very solid offensive line, even though Dalton Reiser started the year on the PUP, I believe. But defensively, I still think this team is a hot mess, unfortunately. I mean, Brian Flores, he's gonna do a good job bringing the heat, bringing the pressure, but I think there's still enough notable weaknesses on the defense to keep them as a bottom of the league team. Okay, we got one more team in this category, and that's going to be the Washington Commanders. And hey, there's talent on this squad. I'm just saying, hey, give them time. New coaching staff, new regime, new rookie quarterback, a lot of new players. Like, you're replacing over half of your offensive and defensive starters. Give this team some time to gel and kind of figure out who they are. So that's why they're going to be here at bottom of the league, but they certainly can surprise you and honestly might be closer to that long shot category. Let's go into these long shots to make the playoffs, as I got the Denver Broncos starting off this category. Listen, it could happen. I doubt it happens. Bo Nix, rookie quarterback. I think he's a great fit for Sean Payton, but there's some questions along that offensive line. We could start at center. We could talk about maybe potentially even a tackle. Bowles might be out of here after this year. McGlinchey, he's up there in years, so we'll see. But really, the fear is more on defense. Are they going to be able to consistently get pressure? Will someone kind of step up next to Pat Surtain? Is Vance Joseph a good DC? You know, questions like that. Your typical, your usual. All right. Right above the Denver Broncos, I'm going to have the Danny Dimes-led New York Giants. I don't believe in Danny Dimes. This is his last year. Giants fans, I've been saying I told you so for many years now when it came to Daniel Jones. Y'all are hard-headed. You didn't believe me, but look, it's true. It's true. You're going to cut him loose after this season. The defense also will probably look solid this year, but I just don't think this team will be able to do enough offensively to be able to stay in ball games. I just don't think so. I mean, think what you saw, like if you're a college football fan, think of what you saw with the Georgia-Clemson game. Clemson, in that ball game at halftime, they're down 6-0. Offense, unable to move the football, but the defense playing really good football. And then in the second half, the defense gets gassed because the offense can't do nothing. Turns into a big blowout. I feel like that's probably going to be the Giants this year. Though Malik Neighbors, I think he could save Daniel Jones. He can be Daniel Jones's hero baby. For the sake of Giants fans, I hope not. Everybody loves the NFL draft, and I know you want to be familiar with every potential prospect that your team may draft. So I got good news for you. My draft guide is available for purchase. It is good throughout the entire draft cycle, and it updates through the season regularly. You'll get my current evals and rankings on hundreds of different players with player backgrounds and analytics. It also contains combine and pro day numbers, as well as my notes from the Senior and Shrine Bowl. You can purchase it for a one-time payment of $30 on PayPal, Venmo, and now I have the Cash App. Follow the link in the description and be sure to include your email because it is a Google spreadsheet. That is how I share it with you. So please don't make me hunt down your email. Just don't do it. Anywho, it's a great purchase and it's a great way to support the channel. Okay, right above the Giants, I'm going to have the Arizona Cardinals. I just think defensively, they're long shots. Like, defensively, this team's a mess. I don't think they're good. They're working on things. They've added some good parts, I think, in the cornerback room. They're a little beat up along the defensive line, more so at edge, but I don't believe in the front seven. I'm not there yet. I don't know how this team will consistently get pressure. I feel like the Cardinals are going to have to win a lot of shootouts to win games. That's just not something that's sustainable. That's why they're in this long shot category. Right above the Cardinals, I'm going to have the Tennessee Mayos. That's right, the Tennessee Titans. Will Levis. This year's going to kind of function as a pseudo rookie year for Will Levis under Brian Callahan. Bill, though, coach of the offensive line. So, I mean, I think it's fair to expect some lumps and bumps. It's actually, especially with the defense, they're going to be finding their identity. They got some good players there, but part of me feels like I don't know how they're going to get adequate pressure game in, game out with Denard there as the DC. Is this a team that's going to not blitz as much? Because that's what we saw in Baltimore, though they did blitz a ton situationally on third down. But on early downs, is this defensive line, is this unit good enough to get pressure by themselves consistently? I have doubts there, so I do consider them long shots. I only have one more team in this category, and it is the Los Angeles Chargers. Justin Herbert with the foot injury does concern me a bit. The defense, will it be better? It will be better because it was pretty bad last year. Will it be that much better? We'll see. We'll see. I still think it's a work in progress, especially when you get to like the secondary. They have a lot of youth at linebacker. Offensively, again, really, it's just Herbert. That's kind of my big concern there with the foot injury. So that puts them in the long shot category. Let's move to this could be, but unlikely to make the playoffs. And we're going to start with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Listen, defensively, great. Offensive line, bit of a question. You're going to have a lot of rookies, a lot of rookie and second-year players along that offensive line. So it's real back. It might not be as bad as last year's, which last year's was kind of up and down. More down than up, though. If anything, I think it might be similar to last year's, as those guys just kind of learn and just get used to playing at an NFL pace, at NFL speed. Russell Wilson, Mr. Limited. Listen, I mean, he might be good enough to keep you in ball games. I don't know if he's good enough to win you ball games. I would be like, hey, let's see Justin Fields. You got him on a 1-year deal. Like, what the hell are we doing here? You got him on a 1-year deal. See what you got. Is he someone you're going to sign long-term? Not even necessarily long-term, but bring back? Like, what the heck are we doing here? I would take him in a heartbeat. I really, really would. Over Russell Wilson, who gives you maybe a higher floor, but a much, much lower ceiling. So that's why they're in this could be, but unlikely category. Right above them, I have the New Orleans Saints. Let's be honest, the Saints are just mid as hell. They're mid. Defense will be great. Dennis Allen, great defensive coordinator. Not so great head coach. Kubiak, what can he do with the offense? I don't know. This team has a Derek Carr stink on it right now. Right above the Saints, I'm going to have the Las Vegas Raiders. I think we're going to see much improvement with this squad, but I don't know. Gardner Minshew, he's going to be good enough to keep this team in playoff contention, but I don't know if they're going to be legitimate contenders. They might be more on the outside looking in, playing spoiler. So, like, the offense is going to have its question marks. Going to have question marks with Gardner Minshew at the helm. Obviously, they don't have their quarterback of the future, I think, on the roster currently. The defense is going to be very good, though, for the Raiders. They're going to make some plays. All right, above them, I'm going to have the Chicago Bears. Rookie quarterback, Shane Waldron, first year as the OC here for the Bears. Let's just kind of wait and see. I think we're going to see much more promise than we have in a long time when it comes to the Bears. But they're not quite playoff contenders just yet. I think defensively, they still have maybe some things to work out. Though this team was very good with Montez Sweat. When they made that trade last year, we saw good things from that Florida rookie last year, Gervin Dexter. There we go. As he kind of turned it on in the second half of the season. But, I mean, who's rushing opposite of Sweat? Is it Walker? Some people are going to be like Austin Booker, but he's a 4th-round rookie. I mean, he might, but I wouldn't put my eggs in that, all my eggs in that basket quite yet. So, I mean, hey, I think it's going to be better than it was in years past, but there still will be some bumps and lumps. My final team here is going to be the Seattle Seahawks, another team that I think could play spoiler, another team that could be in that playoff contention, maybe up until the last week or two of the season. I like Geno Smith, man. He's good, really good NFL quarterback. I'm just very interested to see what this Grub offense may look like. I still think that there needs to be some additions along that offensive line. It's not offensive line. Still a lot of question marks. Defensively, this team will be fun defensively with Mike McDonald at the helm. But I don't know, man. Just one reason or another, I'm not buying into it. And I think a lot of it has to do with that offensive line for the Seahawks. Let's move on to these legitimate playoff contenders. We're going to start with the Los Angeles Rams. I mean, honestly, you could basically have it like this. Like either or. I think these are going to be the two teams vying for a playoff spot. But I do lean the Rams. Better offensive line. I think there's just honestly, I like Matthew Stafford better as a quarterback. The weapons are arguably better. The pass catchers, I mean, Cooper Kupp, Puka, and then you look DK, Tyler Lockett, JSN. Like, I think I'd ride with Puka and Cooper Kupp. Defensively, you probably lean Seattle there just because of Mike McDonald and what he can do, but I don't know, man. Part of me likes a little bit of the weapon. That's not true. I think I like Seattle defensively much better. Like Byron Murphy, I think is going to pop off. Boy, Mafe is trending in the right direction. Devin Witherspoon, stud. So, yeah, that one's a bit of a toss-up for me. Honestly, I think now I'm doing this on the fly, I think I'm gonna move Seattle here. I think that's fair. I think that's fair. You let me know in the comment section below. Did I screw up? Do you think this is fair? I think it's fair. All right, let's keep it rolling. Who's in front of the Rams? Well, it's your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yeah, Tampa Bay. Defensively, secondary's got a lot to figure out. We'll see, but I believe in Winfield and I believe in Jameel Dean, one of my favorite corners in the NFL there. The pass rush, we'll see. We'll see. Offensively, I believe in Baker. I believe in Mike Evans. That's a hell of a connection there. The run game, though, is still going to be a question mark. Is Rachaad White going to be just kind of a volume eater for fantasy? Probably. But that guard spot, that left guard spot's kind of wide open with Opeta. Like, I had a lot more faith in Opeta than I did Breedson. I think Breedson's just not that good. Will Cody Mock take that next jump? Like, at least you know you're going to be better with Barton on the interior there. But I do question those two guard spots. Right in front of the Bucks, we got the Indianapolis Colts. Listen, the sample size was too small last year with Anthony Richardson. So, I mean, you could be excited. I think this offense is going to be hella fun. with Anthony Richardson, Jonathan Taylor, Shane Steichen, I think it's going to be difficult to stop. But we just don't have proof of that yet. So it's going to be kind of a wait and see. To me, Gus Bradley defenses are always pretty middle of the league. He's definitely not my favorite coordinator in the NFL. But I don't have that big of an ego to call him a bad DC. He's not a bad DC. I think he's a very average, very solid DC. But I mean, is Latu like, are they going to have enough horses on the defensive line to bring consistent pressure? Because again, Gus Bradley, I think over the last like 5 years, no one blitzes least than Gus. So we'll see, but they're legit playoff contenders. They are. And ahead of them is actually the division rival Jacksonville Jaguars. I want to believe in this team so much. Listen, is Doug Peterson and Press Taylor going to open up the offense? Are they going to quit being stupid and predictable with the run game? There's a big reason why Travis Etienne, the second half of the season, really got slowed down, because it was like, okay, if they're running, well, it's inside zone, wham, bam, boom. Like, even when they go outside, they're doing it from shotgun, which is not the most advantageous way to run outside zone. We'll see offensively. I believe in Trevor Lawrence. He's got fun weapons now, especially Brian Thomas. I'm very excited about. Defensively, there might be a bit of a hiccup in the first part of the season as this team just gets acclimated to Ryan Nielsen. It's going to be playing more of this like 4 guys, hands in the dirt, press, man coverage. But I think this team in the second half of the season, at least this defense, will really turn it on. Because I think Ryan Nielsen, I think he is a great up and coming. Well, I think he's a great DC now, and I think in a couple of years he's going to be a hot name on the head coaching circuit. So I want to believe in the Jags. Again, this is another case where you could flip these two back and forth. Right in front of the Jags, I have the Cleveland Browns. You might be like, what? Cleveland? Playoff contenders? Not a playoff caliber team? You can make a good argument that they're a playoff caliber team. It all depends on Deshaun freaking Watson. Will Deshaun ever be the Deshaun we saw in Houston? I get it. He had the suspension, the 12 or 11 game suspension his first year with Cleveland. And then in his second year with Cleveland, he had I think it was the shoulder injury. So we haven't really seen a fair dose of Deshaun Watson. But to be fair, from what we've seen, it has not been encouraging. So that's just kind of the big question mark there. How will it go? Will it be good? We'll see. And man, I got the Buffalo Bills in this category. Bills, I'm a Dolphins fan, so Bills fans are gonna think I'm a hater. Oh, and I come to bat for the Bills so much. I remember last year, I refused to move the Bills down my power rankings when they were struggling. People called me a groupie. Oh, you're too high on the Bills. I'm like, no, this team was probably going to be good down the stretch. There's just too much talent. And they ended up being good down the stretch. Oh, man, you're going to have some guys step up to be like the focal point, the playmakers offensively. But do you? Because if you think about this team in the second half of the season, Joe Brady, Stephon Diggs kind of got, not like, he just wasn't the main go-to guy anymore. Like, James Cook became a big focal point, and they definitely spread the ball around a bit more when it came to the passing game. Defensively, there's obviously going to be some questions here. I think it's going to be a solid defense. I don't know if it'll be a great defense, but I think it'll probably be around the middle of the pack. This is a playoff caliber team. But is it? Will we see some regression? I don't know. I'll keep them here And we'll move him up accordingly as we see him this season. And then I got one more team in this tier, being the Atlanta Falcons. Everything about this team screams playoff team. They have one of the best offensive lines in football. Drake London is a hell of a good receiver who now gets a good quarterback. Am I saying he's like a top 10, top 15 receiver in the league? No. But he might be now. We'll see. Kirk Cousins, very good quarterback. I mean, we've seen him the last few years with the Vikings make that team a playoff caliber, or at least a playoff contender, which is why they're in the playoff contender. But defensively, they're adding parts like Matt Judon. They're adding parts like Justin Simmons, which screams, hey, Super Bowl window. I got to see it before I believe it. I'm going to leave them in this playoff contender tier. Let's move on to your playoff caliber team, starting with the New York Jets, a team that I tossed and turned. Should I put them here? Should I put them here? Listen, they have one of the best defenses in football. The offensive line, they made some solid additions. Yes, those additions tend to get hurt, but they made some solid additions. Aaron Rodgers is healthy, even if he is the Aaron Rodgers we saw in 2022, which was fine. Like, he had a lot going wrong around him, but he was good enough to lead that Packers team to the playoffs. I know that they didn't make the playoffs, but I don't think that was that was through any fault of his own. Even if he's just that Aaron Rodgers, this is a playoff caliber team. Good weapon, great weapons in Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson. So sign me up. Right ahead of them, I'm going to have the Dallas Cowboys. There's a lot of questions I have. Like, you got Mike McCarthy, final year of his contract. Dak Prescott, final year of his contract. Mike Zimmer on a 1-year deal. Why does it feel like everything's about to change this upcoming offseason? Why am I more intrigued about how this team's offseason will be rather than how they'll be this regular season? But I'm not going to Dak CD and Dak. They got Micah Parsons. He's deadly, one of the best edge players in the NFL. They'll eventually get Deron Bland back, but they get a healthy Diggs. The defense will be interesting to watch. It'll be fun, I think, to watch with Mike Zimmer there. I think he's a good DC. But I couldn't really push them any further up this list. Right ahead of them, I have the AFC version of the Dallas Cowboys and the Miami Dolphins. Fins up, baby, fins up. If you didn't know, now you know. I'm a big Dolphins fan. Listen, man, offensive line, I still got questions about. I still think there's some significant weaknesses on the offensive line, and I worry about I don't worry about them as run blockers. I worry about them as pass protectors. I worry about Tua. But Tua's good enough to where he can mitigate some of the deficiencies along that offensive line. Mike McDaniel, he's good enough to scheme up ways to take pressure off of not just Tua, but that offensive line. The defense, you get Anthony Weaver in here. I don't think it'll look much different from Vic Fangio outside of maybe a bit more blitz heavy on third downs. So defensively, we should be pretty okay. We're getting a healthy Jalen Phillips back. We'll eventually get Bradley Chubb back. I mean, the loss of Christian Wilkinson, that sucks, but kind of is what it is. They're a playoff caliber team, but couldn't put them much higher than that. Right in front of them, I'm going to have the Cincinnati Bengals. I got to see that defense to believe it. Are we going to have a big turnaround? They made a few additions here and there, but they were really bad last year. They lost probably their best pass rusher and run defender on the interior in the form of DJ Reader, but they bring in Chris Jenkins, very good run defender. Sheldon Rankins, solid enough pass rusher. That'll help mitigate some of that. Will we see the secondary play up to snuff, whether it's Dax Hill out there at corner 2 or if it's DJ Turner? We shall see. And then you get healthy Joe Burrow back. Can he stay healthy? You hope so. And then you got the whole Jamar contract dispute happening right now. we'll see. We'll find out. Right for the Bengals, I'm gonna have the Houston Texans. I don't think they're a Super Bowl caliber team quite yet. I do think this is a team that they've made some significant additions, but there's still some work to be done. I got questions along the interior of that offensive line. You got Kenyon Green coming back after missing all of last year, but the year prior, that rookie season wasn't that good. He may look good in training camp. Tell me how he is during the regular season, because training camp is sometimes just hype. Shaq Mason's getting up there in years, but probably the most reliable player along that offensive interior. And then Drew Scruggs playing his natural position there at center, but we haven't seen him play center in the NFL in a regular season capacity. So it's fair to have some questions. Defensive interior, I think D'Amico's going to do a good job protecting this team against the run just by virtue of playing a lot of cover 3. But still, that defensive interior leaves a lot to be desired, in my opinion. Listen, this is a good team. This is a playoff caliber team that could make a deep run into the playoffs. I do have a couple. You know what? I have one team. I have one team left in this category, and that team is the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love, he is the real deal. He looked like the real deal last year. The last half, that stretch last season was magical. There's a lot of talent on this team. You get a new DC and Halfley. This team's trending in the right direction to where they're like, okay, this is to me, they're borderline Super Bowl contenders. They have the talent to be Super Bowl contenders. Maybe I'm just a little antsy, and I want to maybe just see it. And it's well, you saw it last season, ho. And it's yeah, but maybe I want a bit more than a half of a season eval. Maybe give me a couple of games into the year, and I'll buy into the Super Bowl contenders. But I mean, they're right there. They're right there. Okay, let's go to your Super Bowl contenders. I'm going to start off with the Baltimore Ravens. They were a Chiefs victory. Well, a victory over the Chiefs away from making the Super Bowl. Listen, this team's been good in the regular season. I need to see the postseason success. I need it. That's what this team is missing right now. Are we going to get it this year? Lamar, 2-time MVP winner. I want to see this offense come alive in the playoffs. I believe in Mackin. I really do. And honestly, even with Mike McDonald gone, I think Zach Orr, a guy who not only played while Mike McDonald was a positions coach there, but has had chance to be under the learning tree. I think they're going to be okay defensively. I really do. It's just, can they get over that hump? That's the question. All right, right above the Ravens, I have a bunch of NFC teams. I'm going to start with the Philadelphia Eagles. As from a talent standpoint, jack full of it. Ton of talent on this squad. But you got a new OC, a new DC. To be fair, Vic Fangio, fairly familiar with this squad. He was a consultant here in 2022. Let's see how it plays out on the field. They're built to be Super Bowl contenders. They will be in the running when it comes to the NFC. Next, I'm going to have the Detroit Lions. Another team from a talent standpoint. I think they got the guns. I legitimately do. Offensively, this is going to be a fun team. Defensively, will the secondary make that necessary improvement? Will they? Yo, what do you mean they drafted Darian Arnold and the Rakestraw? They brought in Carlton Davis. Carlton Davis, a man of 3 extremes. Really good, really bad, really hurt. And sometimes you get all those in a year. I'm just saying, with rookies, you kind of want to wait and see. I think it's fair to be let's wait, let's see how the secondary is. Hopefully you can get healthy Marcus Davenport. When healthy, he is a very good player. It's just unfortunately that's kind of like far and few between him being healthy and whatnot. This is a good squad. They're going to be competing for the NFC Championship game along with a team like the Eagles, a team like the Packers, and of course your San Francisco 49ers. This team almost won the Super Bowl last year. And if not for the NFL being scripted, they probably would have. I'm joking. Or am I? But this is a good squad, man. Defensively, they're going to be very good. Man, I got questions with the pass rush, but added Malik Collins, very good pass rush and interior player. Leonard Floyd, very a solid, maybe low-end edge too, but this is a team that likes just having the depth on the defensive line, and they have that depth. So I'm not too concerned about the defense. And offensively, they bring back Brandon Ayuk. Yay, he's extended. Trent Williams, yay, he's extended. Brock Purdy, you're next. So it's like they're just running it back with potentially an upgrade along the interior with rookie Dominic Pooney, who's going to be playing there at, I believe, right guard because Aaron Banks is the left guard. Which, again, it's a rookie, so it's kind of a wait and see. But to be fair, that right guard position was kind of a problem last year until Feliciano took over. So, yeah, I feel like having the Super Bowl runner-ups here at 2, probably the right call. But really, you could really change them out with any of these other NFC teams. But there's my power rankings. I feel like this is fair. I'm relatively positive with when it comes to like playoff contenders. And that could be unlikely. I think these are all, like, realistically, these are all teams that are going to be vying for the playoffs. And then these long shots, they have a chance to surprise. They really do. But you let me know what you think in the comment section below. How would you have this ranked? I want to hear from you. But if you want more football content, hey, brah, we got draft content on the channel. Of course we do. So check that out. But as always, till next time, it's football, bro, and I'll catch you later.